Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Rohit Wellington. Let's begin with the coronavirus figures. India reported a slight dip in cases, but the death figures was once again up. 2.59 lakh cases were reported in the last 24 hours, down almost 6%. The number of deaths once again was over 4,000. 4,209 deaths were reported in one day, up over 8%. Now, over 20.6 lakh tests were conducted in one day. Positivity rate was down slightly at 12.58%. And vaccinations were up 4% in the last 24 hours. But vaccination figures are still far below what India needs to achieve its target quickly. The total vaccine shots given so far are 19.2 crores, but only 14.8 lakh vaccines were given on the 20th of May. The 7-day moving average even lower, 12,85,000. India needs to scale that up to about 90 lakh per day if it wants to achieve the target of vaccinating 80% of the population by this year end. Now, Prime Minister Modi was visibly emotional on Friday as he spoke about those who had lost their lives to COVID. He thanked doctors and frontline workers during video conference with health workers in Varanasi, his parliamentary constituency. This comes at a time his government is facing criticism over its handling of the second wave.
इस वायरस ने हमारे कई अपनों को हमसे छीना है। मैं उन सभी लोगों को अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि देता हूं।
In a conversation with doctors from his parliamentary constituency Varanasi, the Prime Minister couldn't hold himself back. Emotions getting the better of him, choking up as he paid his tribute to those who died due to COVID.
अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि देता हूं।
Prime Minister Modi thanked doctors and frontline workers during the video conference.
कोरोना की सेकंड वेव में हमें कई मोर्चों पर एक साथ लड़ना पड़ रहा है। इस बार संक्रमण दर भी पहले से कई गुना ज्यादा है।
People from Mr. Modi's constituency too reacted to his outpouring of emotions.
प्रधानमंत्री जी जो है आज अपने इस कार्यक्रम के दौरान जो है भावुक हुए, जो है ये मानवीय संवेदना को प्रकट करता है।
मोदी जी अगर यही जो कार्य आज कर रहे हैं वह थोड़ा पहले कर लिए होते तो बहुत से परिवार बिखरने से बच गए होते।
Mr. Modi's government is battling criticism about its handling of the pandemic. Even today, the opposition took pot shots at this emotional homage.
आज अपराध बोध में प्रधानमंत्री अगर कुछ आंखें नम कर देते हैं, आंसू बहाते हैं, तो जो करोड़ों लोगों को खून के आंसू पीने पड़े, क्या वो धुल जाएंगे?
Congress's Jairam Ramesh tweeted calling this drama Rajya instead of Rama Rajya. Aam Aadmi Party MP Sanjay Singh went a step further, tweeting his old statement where he seems to predict on the 17th of April that the PM will break down.
अभी आ जाएंगे, अभी आप बस थोड़ा सा इंतजार कीजिए, बस अब देखिए आप लाइट कैमरा एक्शन शुरू होने वाला है, बस थोड़ा इंतजार कीजिए, अभी रोएंगे आके टीवी पे आके रो देंगे, पूरा देश का चैनल चलाने लगेगा, सब भावुक हो गए, सब रोने लगे, सब।
हमें कई मोर्चों पर
The Prime Minister's address comes amid a raging and deadly second wave of the virus, which still continues to kill over 4,000 people, even as the total number of cases come down to 2.5 lakhs a day. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Over 7,000 cases and at least 126 deaths. That's the tally of black fungus cases and deaths, the new disease that's being detected in COVID patients or those recovering from COVID. But even now, a key injection, an antifungal drug, amphotericin, that is used to treat this infection is unavailable in many parts of the country. In Mumbai, desperate families are ready to buy it at any price.
No injections for black fungus. For the last 1 week, Deepak Mali has been searching everywhere to buy antifungal injection, liposomal amphotericin B, for his brother admitted at this private hospital in Mumbai since May 4 for the treatment of mucormycosis or black fungus disease.
14 मई से यहाँ पे मेडिसिन मिलना बंद हो गया, इंजेक्शन मिलना बंद हो गया। हॉस्पिटल ने बोला कि आप बाहर से अरेंज करिए। उसके लिए हमने इंक्वायरी की मार्केट में कहीं पे नहीं मिल रहा है। कोई डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर से कांटेक्ट किया, उन्होंने सीधा बोल दिया कि गवर्नमेंट रेस्ट्रिक्शंस है, इसलिए हम बेच नहीं सकते।
Mayuresh's father got the black fungus disease 3 weeks after recovering from COVID. The 30-year-old mortgaged family gold and farm in Jalgaon to pay for his father's treatment in a Mumbai hospital for over 3 weeks now. But the injection itself is unavailable.
सब दाव पे लगा है वो। अभी इसको और डिटेल में बताना चाहे आपको तो सोना गिरी हुई है, जमीन गिरी हुई है।
कहाँ से आए आप?
जलगांव।
जलगांव से यहाँ पे सिर्फ इलाज के लिए आए?
इलाज के लिए आया हूँ सर। मैं 27 अप्रैल से मैं इस हॉस्पिटल में हूँ सर।
There are over 5,500 cases of black fungus and at least 126 deaths across the country. But there is a severe shortage of antifungal drugs used for treatment. The centre's allocations to different states has been far short of requirement. The 16,500 doses allotted to Maharashtra, for instance, won't suffice for its 1,500 patients for even 2 days. Whereas the treatment protocol is 5 to 8 injections every day for 2 weeks.
जवळजवळ 2 लाख इंजेक्शन्सची एकंदर मागणी म्हणजे नोंदवलेली आहे, म्हणजे परचेस ऑर्डर्स दिलेल्या आहेत संबंधित कंपनीजला, पण त्या कंपनीला जोपर्यंत केंद्र शासन अलॉटमेंट देत नाही तोपर्यंत त्या कंपन्या पण देऊ शकत नाही.
Sun Pharma, which is among the 6 companies manufacturing the antifungal drug, told NDTV they are ramping up production. Amphotericin has become the new remdesivir in short supply and selling at prohibitive prices. The central government says the supply issue will be sorted out soon, with 5 pharma firms being given new approval within 3 days for producing the antifungal drug and existing firms also ramping up production. With Sohit Mishra in Mumbai, in Hyderabad, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa on Friday extending the statewide lockdown by another 2 weeks. It will now be in force till the 7th of June as the state battles the surge in cases in the second COVID wave. The earlier lockdown in effect from the 10th of May was to end on the 24th. The state on Friday reported 32,218 fresh infections and 353 deaths, taking the total infections and deaths due to COVID to 23,67,742 and over 24,200 deaths. It has over 5 lakh active cases. Now in Tamil Nadu, COVID cases and deaths are rising. The state is now emerging as the new epicenter of India's COVID surge. Why is this happening and what are the state authorities doing to combat it? Sam Daniel reports.
Charu is shattered. She lost her banker husband to COVID. He was just in his early 40s. At the funeral, their children Lakshmi and Bharati and his parents.
சின்ன வயசு பையன், எங்க வயசு பையன் ஏத்தோட பணம் வந்து கட்டினா தான் ஹாஸ்பிட்டலில் சேர்க்கறான்னு சொல்றாங்க. ஒரு கம்பெனியில் நல்ல கம்பெனி, ஒரு எந்த ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லை அவருக்கு, நல்லா தான் இருந்தார்.
Tamil Nadu's daily mortality is up by 8 times since April, from 48 on the 20th April to 397 deaths on 20th May, an all-time high. With 73 deaths in Chennai alone, pressure is up on the 15 crematoriums in the city. They run almost the whole day, even after nearly 2 weeks of a total lockdown. The state's COVID death count has crossed 19,000. Authorities blame it on late reporting and testing. They deny the rise in deaths are due to oxygen shortages or long wait for ICUs and ventilators outside hospitals.
Coming late is a bigger problem, and with full lung involvement, when you are having an early signs and symptoms, instead of getting yourself treated.
Although the daily death count in Tamil Nadu is the highest in India, the state's mortality rate is only at 1.1%. Authorities say, unlike other states, Tamil Nadu peaks late and will dip in the coming weeks. Certainly a big worry and challenge for the new government. In Chennai with Shah Vijay, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
Now, almost 6 months after the start of the farmers' agitation, farmers continue to protest at the borders of Delhi. The Haryana government has told the centre in a report that the farmers' protests at the Delhi's borders have turned into COVID hotspots and that they are responsible for the spread of the disease in rural areas. But farmers have challenged these claims.
As the country reels under the massive second wave of COVID-19, farmers continue with their protest at the borders of Delhi. No masks or social distancing, however, is visible at these agitation sites. The Haryana government says agitations at Kundli-Tikri borders proving to be super spreaders, and that the people returning to nearby villages from the agitation sites are spreading COVID-19. 129 COVID deaths in 65 villages across the state have been linked to the protests by the government. The farmers accuse the state government of using COVID as an excuse to remove the protesters, who have been here for almost 6 months.
ये सारी जो बात खट्टर साहब ने बोली है अपनी और केंद्र सरकार की नाकामियां छिपाने के लिए बोली गई है। ये तो सरकार की प्रॉपर जिम्मेवारी होती है। आज कोरोना का नाम तो पूरे देश में ले रही है। आंदोलन में चाहे कुछ भी नहीं है, फिर भी आंदोलनकारियों ने सारा अरेंजमेंट यहाँ करके रखा है। हमारे पास हॉस्पिटल है, बेड है, ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर है।
However, the farmer leader claims that there have been no COVID-related deaths at the protest site in April or May. The farmer leaders claim oxygen beds are vacant at the temporary hospital, a sign that they have the pandemic under control.
सरकार है, बीजेपी सरकार है, जो खट्टर सरकार है, मिलजुल कर आंदोलन को बदनाम करने की साजिश रच रही है। चाहे बारिश हो, कितना पानी खड़ा है, जहां बीमारी फैलने का खतरा है, सरकार का तो कोई डॉक्टर जहां कोई इलाज करने वाला भी नहीं है, खुद के संयुक्त किसान मोर्चा ही यहीं पर सारा कुछ संभाल रहा है।
The farmers remain firm on their demand that the central government roll back the farm laws. While on one hand the authorities are claiming that the farmers' agitation sites are converting into hotspots for COVID-19, there has been no initiative by the government to resume talks with the farm union leaders to end this deadlock. And now the farm union leaders are stating that if there is any spread of COVID-19 at these sites, it is the central government's attitude that's going to be responsible for it. With camera person Sushil Rathi and colleague Neeta Sharma, Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
The Supreme Court on Friday said that given the national and transnational ramification of COVID-related cases, high courts must avoid passing orders that are impossible to implement. The top court, however, refused to cancel the High Court's Ram Bharose comment made on Monday, saying that such observations need to be treated as advice. It stayed an Allahabad High Court order in a suo motu case in which the court said that within 4 months all nursing home beds in Uttar Pradesh must have oxygen facility, and that within a month every UP village had 2 ambulances with ICU facility. In some other news, jailed Jesuit priest and activist Stan Swamy has pleaded for bail. The 84-year-old has declined to return to JJ Hospital, saying that I've been there thrice. I would rather die here. I would rather be at Ranchi with my friends, he said. Stan Swamy was arrested by the NIA in Bhima Koregaon case for alleged Maoist links. He says that when I came to Taloja jail, the core systems of my body were functional. I could walk, bathe myself, write. But this is slowly disappearing. The court has directed the jail to strictly follow advice of the hospital panel. The next hearing is on the 7th of July. Now, after a courtroom drama, 2 of Mamata Banerjee's senior ministers and 2 other political heavyweights arrested and jailed in the Narda bribery case have been put under house arrest. A larger bench of the Calcutta High Court will be set up to decide the matter. CBI's petition against the house arrest order was rejected. Ministers under house arrest, the court said, can video conference to deal with COVID crisis in the state.
The two judges agreed to differ. One said interim bail, the other house arrest. Eventually, house arrest it was. For Firhad Hakim and Subrata Mukherjee, Mamata Banerjee's ministers, and Madan Mitra, veteran Trinamool MLA, as well as Shobhan Chatterjee, who quit Trinamool, joined BJP and quit BJP as well.
Justice Urijit Banerjee was in favor of granting interim bail, but the Honorable Acting Chief Justice was not. There was difference of opinion. I am not fully satisfied that things has been worked out, but as an interim measure, it is all right. That's much.
CBI appealed against the house arrest order, but court rejected it. And sources say CBI may go to Supreme Court on the matter. The Trinamool and BJP are viewing the turn of events through the political prism.
Political vendetta is being meted out. This is Modi's political vendetta. CBI has said in the charge sheet, still investigation is pending against Mukul Rai and Suvendu Adhikari. If it is pending, why they are not arresting them?
ये लोग पार्लियामेंट में थे, तो मुझे जहां तक मालूम है सीबीआई ने वो भी प्रयास शुरू किया है, स्पीकर को चिट्ठी लिखा है, जो उसका प्रोसीड्यूर होता है वो शुरू किया है। और इसी लाइन में मैंने और 3-4 नाम आपको बता रहा हूँ, काकोली घोष दोस्तीदार, अपरूपा पोद्दार, ऐसे कई लोगों का नाम है उसमें, नारदा शारदा में, तो उनका भी नाम आएगा।
3 of the arrested leaders are in hospital and will stay there till medically fit. Around 6:30 p.m., Firhad Hakim went home. A key minister in the fight against COVID, the court allowed him to coordinate with officials from home and hold video conferences if needed. Around the same time, a 5-member bench was announced. It will hear the Narda-related cases on Monday. With Arvind Gunasekar, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
Mamata Banerjee, who swept the Bengal election but lost her own contest in Nandigram, is set to return to the seat she gave up in favour of challenging her former aide Suvendu Adhikari in his stronghold. The Trinamool MLA, who won from Bhawanipur, Shobhandev Chattopadhyay, resigned from the Bengal Assembly on Friday afternoon to enable his party boss to contest from the seat. He will continue as State Agriculture Minister for 6 months, during which time he will contest from another seat to return to the Assembly. The government has asked Twitter to remove the manipulated media tag for tweets on an alleged Congress toolkit, calling it prejudicial, a clear overreach and unwarranted. That's what sources have said. The official complaint has been spurred by Twitter marking BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra's tweet as manipulated media. Sanket Upadhyay has more.
So a massive controversy has erupted between the Congress and the BJP over Twitter. Now, if you recall, 2 days ago, the Bharatiya Janata Party, including some union ministers and spokesperson Sambit Patra, tweeted out and also held a press conference accusing the Congress of launching a toolkit to malign Modi, to malign the country and also the government, a charge with the Congress completely ridiculed and rubbish. They said that even this document that is being projected as the toolkit of the Congress party is fake. They also registered certain FIRs against leaders, or announced that they will register FIRs. Today morning, Twitter declared the tweet of Sambit Patra where he showcased that alleged toolkit as manipulated media, which means that this is not correct. It has been tampered with. The Congress party said that this is exactly what we were saying. But come closer to the evening, the government basically said that this is wrong. Twitter has no right to declare any content as manipulated. In fact, the matter is under investigation and they must take back that tag. So while all of this is happening, there is a massive war of words between the Congress and the BJP.
10 years worth of customer data, including credit cards, passports and phone numbers, has been leaked in a massive breach at Air India, the airline has announced. The incident has affected around 45 lakh customers, Air India said, disclosing the scale of the breach 3 months after it was first informed of it. The airline said that the breach involved personal data registered between the 26th of August 2011 and 3rd February 2021, with details that included name, date of birth, contact information, passport information, ticket information, Star Alliance and Air India frequent flyer data, as well as credit cards data. But no password data were affected. CVC, CVV numbers are not held by our data processor. That's what the airline said. Well, that's it on this bulletin from the entire team. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.